Hi guys, Merry Christmas! Welcome back to Sam's 2 Cent. Today we're looking at key things to take account of when considering a PhD journey. Are you? Then this is the video for you. Just remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. See you on the other side. Bye bye. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been ages. It's been difficult, actually, I must confess. I mean, putting up a YouTube channel isn't a day's job, but I'm here now. It's a good thing. Actually, I'm using Zoom for the first time to do a video. I'm not sure how this will work out, but let's hope it comes out good and you hear me good enough. That'll be fine by me. Anyways, so today I've been thinking about, because I know this period a lot of people are thinking about, have had a long time to start thinking about what they want to do for the future, what their plans are, and most people are considering going back to school, doing a PhD. And I thought I should put out a video, to draw out some key points you should be considering when you're considering, taking on the PhD journey. This is based on my experience, and it's not, people's experiences are not the same. So this is based off of mine, and if you can get one or two things out of my experience, then that would be good. So first of all, it's important when you're thinking about, pursuing a PhD, there are key things you need to, first of all, figure out for yourself. Why are you doing a PhD? So many people have, weird, reasons why they want to do a PhD. Sadly, some people, pursue a PhD for the prestige of the, position. Oh, I have a PhD in this. Or for, the sheer opportunity to have the doctor before your name. Oh, I'm Dr. this and that. So many people have weird, you're going to hear some of those noises. They're just notifications from messages, so please try and ignore. So like I was saying, so many people have weird reasons why they want to pursue a PhD. So first of all, you need to really figure out exactly why you're pursuing a PhD, because it is the why that will motivate you throughout the PhD journey. For me, when I finished my master's, I had no plans of a PhD. I remember one lecturer in my school telling me, "Oh, Selma, you should pursue a PhD." And in my mind, I'm like, "You're going to pay for me." So I didn't really, when I finished initially, I had no inkling of an interest in pursuing a PhD. It was just an idea that was being thrown around. And then I got home, my dad is like, "Are you sure you don't want to do a PhD?" And then my sister mentions the same thing, and I'm like, is this really for me? But along the line, as time went on, I realized that actually I did want to pursue a PhD because of my future aspiration, and my future aspirations were lecturing and remaining in the research field. And that I can only achieve via the route of a PhD. Don't get me wrong, you can be a lecturer with your master's, but I'm pursuing more of a more research-based, position, that could lead to professorship, or, give you a position in your field of study where you become like a professional, to be able to, give your own words and thoughts and ideas on things, what works, you be a specialist in your field. So that was my angle, and that was why I decided to take on the PhD journey. So what is your, the why behind your desire to pursue a PhD? Is it for, your future, to achieving a route to achieving your future aspiration? Or like some, is it just for the prestige and to get that name, doctor? So you decide for yourself exactly why you want to pursue a PhD, and from then you can take it on. Secondly, having established exactly why you want to pursue a PhD, I think the first thing or the most important thing is to decide what specific area you want to pursue your PhD in. There are many fields of studies, but within each field, there are different areas of study that you want to be a specialist in. So that's the first place you want to, figure out for yourself exactly what you want to do. For example, I had a master's in environmental health, and within environmental health is the subject area occupational health and safety. And so now within that occupational health and safety, I needed to find out what specific area that I was keen on, because I was more keen around the health and safety aspect of environmental health. And so I needed to find exactly what I wanted to pursue. And in pursuing a PhD, you're trying to find solutions to a problem, right? So in order to do that, you have to do your research, find out what is already established, where things are lacking in understanding. That's what you want to pursue. So it will require a lot of research. Oftentimes I see people just rush through, and making an application for a PhD just to get an admission, and then when you come in, you find out that you have you struggle with your choice of field, the choice of area you chose to pursue. So for me, I knew I wanted to do a research within the occupational health and safety space. So I decided to do my research. And in doing your research will involve you. Oftentimes you can have a set idea of exactly what you wanted to do. But because I understand how broad my field of study is and the area of specialty I was looking to, I know how broad that area is. So to help me figure out the niche in my field of study, it was important for me to find out where the gap in knowledge in that field is, to be able to pursue that. So I started looking out in different fields of studies, and already I had done a master's dissertation around reducing the risk of musculoskeletal disorder amongst people with they use computers. So I knew I wanted to do research around that area of study, helping people, remain at work, reducing the risk of work to health. I knew that was where my keen interest was in. But exactly what area did I want to pursue? That was now the challenge. So the third aspect of your considering a PhD is now actually finding a school and a research, department that will be a good fit for you. So what I did was to go to different schools that I had interest in, to see their current research interests based on the department. Or you can see some schools advertise PhD positions for people who are interested in that particular area. So I found a university that was advertising a position for research around the areas of sustainable return to work, which was particularly the area I had keen interest in. And so that's where I decided to hone in my interests, and reached out to the school and reached out to the supervisor to express my interest in that research position. So first of all, you want to identify or establish exactly what you want while you're pursuing a PhD. Your next stage is to, decide what, area that you want to pursue. What specific area of interest are you keen on? And then identify the university, and then reach out to whoever is, handling or the head of that research position that has been advertised. Like I said before, you can decide to have, your own area of interest that you want to come up with. But oftentimes different universities and different departments have specific research areas that they are interested in, and so they would like people who want to come to that university to choose those research areas to further build their research portfolio within that department and in that school. So you have two sides to it. Do you want to pursue a research area that the university of your interest is keen on, or do you want to come up with your own research area, which is one that you establish having conducted a proper review of current studies within the research area you are interested in to identify the gaps in order to pursue it? So you need to decide for yourself. Do you want to pursue something that you really want to do based off of the gaps you have identified in current literature? Or do you want to pursue a research area that is being advertised by a specific department in the school of interest that you have, you are keen on? So those are things you need to decide. So for me, like I already said, the particular school that I was interested in advertised a research position in specifically in the area of interest that I was keen on. And so in the field of study that I was particularly keen on, and I reached out to them before I made an application. So with the application process for PhDs are completely different from applying for an undergraduate or a master's degree that you just fill out a form online and there it goes, and they decide whether they accept you or they don't accept you. For a PhD, it's different. Oftentimes you pass through the line of going to different departments to see advertised positions, and within those advertised positions they make available the name of the supervisor for those research positions, and you reach out to them first. You can send them an email heading it as a letter of interest, So you're showing an interest in that position. So you're basically saying you're so and so person, you have a background in so and so field, you have interest in this particular area, you have done something in this area before, and you feel that this would be a perfect fit for you, or this is the area you want to pursue based off on this. So basically you're sending an email to express your interest in the position, and you attach your CV, you attach your certificate, and the supervisor, if they like what they see and like what they read, and see your CV, they will reach out to you and establish some conversations around the work before they can encourage you to put in an application. That is, if they believe that you are a perfect fit for the position. So there are different routes to that. So based off of that communication with the supervisor prior to applying, it makes it a lot easier for the application process to move swiftly. So remember, you have to first contact the supervisor, establish your interest in the field before you have that conversation and then put in an application. Oftentimes when people mention a PhD, the first thing that comes to people's mind is, oh, money. 3 to 4 years of studying, that's a whole lot of money, especially when you're doing it in the UK or in the US or any other part of the country of the world. You're thinking about the money and how expensive it is. It is expensive for real, because it's especially, like I mentioned, when people kept saying, oh, you need to do a PhD, I'm like, will you pay? Are you going to take the cost of it? So it's always a challenge, because it is expensive to acquire a wealth of knowledge that makes you a specialist in the field. So yes, so oftentimes most people would rather it will make it a lot easier for people to secure a funding. So there are many outlets to get funding. You can apply for government funding, you can apply for school based scholarships within the school. So those are things you should be looking out for before you make an application. Look at the school, see the kind of funding or scholarships that are available. I was fortunate to find a studentship. So oftentimes studentships are There's some form of funding. They're not scholarships. There's some form of funding, but oftentimes they are advertised as a research position in a specific field of study. Remember that I said I had applied for a research position that was advertised in the specific field of area that I was interested in. So now this position was advertised as a studentship. So within this studentship, the particular studentship I applied for wasn't full funding, unfortunately, but it worked out for me in the end, due to certain, anyways. So it came with part payment, part tuition, which was basically the UK equivalent of the fee, meaning I had to make up the overseas, equivalent, and it also came with monthly funding. So you can decide to go for such funding opportunities if you can't find full fundings. But trust me, with securing that, even with the monthly payment, I'm sure you'll be able to make up the other part of the payment if you're intending to do installment payment, or you can look out for scholarship opportunities. Many organizations or universities these days advertise scholarship opportunities for both home-based and overseas students. So those are opportunities you should look out for, because believe you me, the cost of a PhD is high. So you wouldn't want to bear that cost by yourself, unless, forgive me, if you are capable to sort yourself with that funding. So please, by all means, go ahead. For the rest of you like me who can't afford to foot such bills in this day and in this time, then look out for good funding opportunities. Ask questions. Oftentimes so many people have information that you need, so do not hesitate to ask questions from people that might have the right information. Drop the pride. That's why I do this video, because I know I wasn't fortunate enough to have some of the information that I'm now privy to, but now I do have those information. So if you are looking to make an application for a PhD and you're lacking in key details and information around things and how things work, I'm happy to share, because I know I didn't find that easy, and so I wouldn't want someone to pass through the things that I passed through with trying to get the relevant information for this journey. And secondly, is it secondly? Anyway, I've lost count of the reading. Anyway, so what I wanted to say to add is that when you're pursuing a PhD, make sure you are pursuing a subject area that you have keen interest in. When people mention PhD, the first thing that comes, one of the things that comes to people's mind is, oh God, it's so tough, it's hard, it's difficult. It can be difficult, but oftentimes it's difficult if you're pursuing a field of area that you have no keen interest in, because you're going to struggle, you're going to find it difficult. When the going gets tough, you will throw in the towel. Trust me, I've come across many colleagues who had to throw in the towel, or I've heard of so many people who had to throw in the towel because it became difficult. For some of the people that were in my department that had to pull out, it was mostly around things like pursuing, being convinced to pursue a field of study that they didn't have keen interest in. So you want to make sure you are pursuing a field or an area of study that you have keen interest in, because when the going gets tough, it's your interest in that field that will motivate you to keep going, because you can see the end line, you can see the end game, you can see the benefit of what you're doing. Many people have had, different, experiences in my PhD, but in their PhDs. But for me, because I really enjoy my subject area, and every stage or milestone that I achieved was, a learning curve, was a learning experience. So it kept me excited. It kept me motivated, even when it was stressful. Oftentimes, it became stressful, especially when you're recruiting participants for, research and going to and fro different destinations to, conduct interviews, doing transcription for people that do qualitative study, or different levels of the project has its own challenges, but if you have keen interests, that is what will keep you going. That is what will keep you fighting the fight and not give up in the end. So when someone asks me, is a PhD difficult to achieve? It is not difficult if you pursue a field of study that you have keen interest in. But if you pursue a field of study that you have no remote interest in, then it's going to be a challenge, because you will struggle, you will find it difficult, you will think it's a burden, and you will end up throwing the towel in the end. So, key points: if you didn't take anything away from today, please take this with you. Pursue a field of study that you have keen interest in, something that you enjoy, because when you are engaged, when something interests you, it keeps you engaged in the process and in the journey. What else am I missing out on sharing? So identify why you want to pursue a PhD. Make sure you establish exactly what field of study you are pursuing, and make sure that field of study is something that you have keen interest in, something that you're passionate about. Reach out to the university, or apply or look out for opportunities within your field of interest, and contact the supervisor to express your interest in the field and before putting in an application. And then the last stage would be actually putting in the application for the PhD. Oftentimes, you are expected to submit an application, fill out an application form along with attaching a research proposal, your CV, a personal statement. Yeah, those are some of the key things. At least for me, those were the key things I submitted for my PhD. So I attached them along with the application form. I attached them a research proposal for the research field that I was pursuing, and my CV, my personal statement, along with my certificate, my master's degree certificate here. So yeah, those were the key things that I submitted for my application. So particularly about the proposal. Oftentimes, I think it's not even supposed to be more than 3,000 words, but I think in most schools, they just want to see where you are in the research field, what level of understanding or experience you have conducting research, because that would determine the level of support or help you need throughout the process. But in other, even within my schools, I know I came across colleagues who never submitted a research proposal before application. So different schools have different requirements. But if your school that you're interested in has the requirement of submitting a research proposal, do not fear. While it is important to be detailed in what you're doing, they just want to see you outline. They just want to see that you have a good idea of exactly what you want to do, and how long it will take you to complete it, if it will be within the PhD duration. That is oftentimes between 3 and 4 years. So within a research proposal, you're supposed to, of course, provide the abstract, the introduction, the methodology, what methodology are you pursuing? Is it going to be a qualitative study, or is it going to be a quantitative study? And what the contributions will be. Oftentimes you're supposed to provide a time frame, most often a Gantt chart, to show the time frame, break down all the levels of your PhD to show that you're able to complete your PhD within the 3 to 4 years duration. And basically that's all you're supposed to provide within the proposal. Oh, I also forgot, within the methods section, after the methods section, you're also supposed to provide what analytical approach you're going to use, which is based off of what kind of methodology you're pursuing. So you want to read up on that. But make sure, remember, before you decide to pursue a research area, if it's the one you want for yourself or the one advertised by the school, oftentimes they just advertise a topic area, so you're supposed to expatiate on it and pursue it further. So you do have to read up a lot of reading. So it's more like a review to highlight in the introduction the field of study you're pursuing, why you're pursuing, what has been done already in that area of study, what is lacking in that area of study, and exactly what you want to pursue. Oftentimes you want to pursue what is lacking in that field of study. So for me, for example, I was researching around sustainable return to work, how to help people who have been absent from work for return to work and remain at work. So I had to show what has already been done. So my argument was that there's so many research that has been done around the effectiveness of some interventions, and while these interventions have shown favorable outcomes, we're still having the issue or the incidence of sickness absence due to ill health, suggesting that probably these interventions may not be working. And so I had to highlight from comments from previous studies of how other authors have said probably if they take account of people's personal and social factors, maybe it might impact the results. So that was now my justification for pursuing personal and social factors, the effect of personal and social factors on return to work outcomes, to see if it will reduce the incidence of sickness absence. So those are the kinds of things you want to do when you're putting forward your introduction within your research area. So identify what has been done, identify what is lacking, identify what you want to pursue and why you want to pursue, and of what contribution it will bring either to the literature or practically as a whole. So those are key things you need to bring out within the research proposal for the introduction and within the methodology side. So you decide what you want to pursue. If you're trying to pursue a what kind of research question, or oftentimes it's going to be a quantitative study. But if you're trying to understand how things work, you might be thinking around a qualitative study to get a deep meaning and a sense of and meanings around things. So you need to figure out exactly what you are pursuing, what your research question is, because your research question is what will determine what methodology you want to use. So those are key things you want to highlight, and based on what research methodology you're pursuing, it will inform your analytical approach. So those are key things that your research proposal should cover. And in an abstract, an introduction, your methodology, your analytical approach, and the contribution you're bringing, and a time frame of how you're going to complete your research project within the duration of your PhD. So these are key things you should take into account if you're considering a PhD. And if there's any other thing that comes to mind, I will be sure to drop you another video. But if you have any questions, or you're considering applying for a PhD, you can reach out to me via the comment section, or even reach out to me via my Facebook channel, which the details are provided down below, and I will be happy to assist. No cost involved, so please don't be scared. Do not be scared. I'm coming to you free. So for now, this is my 2 cents around putting in an application for a PhD. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely day, and I will be back again with something new to help you move forward. Have a lovely day and a very Merry Christmas.